Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏, and today guys we are answering the question of what is ANKR network. This is a cryptocurrency anchor, and we're going to go through what this is, what this project is all about, and why we invested in the ANKR network cryptocurrency. So if you do find this video useful, informative, go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really does appreciate it, and so do I. So as always, if by chance you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all of the videos and live streams that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏. Right, so Chris, with all of that said and done and out of the way, shall we jump on over to the desktop and go through a little of what the ANKR network is all about?
Yeah, let's get straight into it, Nick. Love this project.
Fantastic. Okay, so what is ANKR? So, ANKR is a project that has been, getting quite a bit of attention lately, and obviously, rightfully so. I mean, even we have most recently been investing in the ANKR project. And so this is something that I think we've been invested in for maybe up to 4 weeks now, Chris. And yeah, it's really reasonably priced, and I think there's lots of up to the upside. And we're going to go through some of those reasons as to why. But ultimately, ANKR Network, they're basically building a cloud computing platform that will, distribute idle computing power. So if we start thinking about all of the remote clouds out there, such as Amazon warehousing, Amazon clouds, we obviously have Google Cloud, you obviously have Microsoft, etc., right? And they all run all of these kind of remote servers that you can just get on the cloud. And obviously with that comes idle computing power. And ANKR is basically, trying to distribute that idle power and make better use of it. So ANKR truly believes that cloud computing is the future, and they need and they see a need for decentralized alternative to the current monopolies, and this is obviously AWS, Azure, Google, and they're not alone, right, on their mission. There's an extent of other similar blockchains doing the same kind of things that are all based around this decentralization of computing power. So ANKR is no different in that regard. Can they really compete, in this competitive space for cloud computing resources? So their main competitors here are the likes of Google, Microsoft Azure, Amazon AWS, for example, right? So absolutely mammoth monopolies. And I do think that actually ANKR here, ANKR networks, I think they do stand a good chance. So ultimately, in this ANKR cryptocurrency review, we're going to kind of go through everything that you might want to know about this particular project. We will delve into the use cases and the long-term adoption potential of the the ANKR token. And I think it's going to be fantastic, Chris. So what is the ANKR network? So the ANKR network was created to provide a new blockchain solution that leverages the idle computing power from edge devices and data centers, right, Chris? These are the AWS data centers, the Google data centers, and obviously Microsoft Azure as well. So its distributed computing platform enables the sharing economy, where consumers will be able to access these cloud resources far more affordably, and enterprises will also be able to monetize spare computing resources and computing power. So it works in both directions, right? So let's take Google, for example, who have spare power. They could potentially sell that off and create a decentralized network of computing power that is far more affordable. So lots of people could take advantage of this, not just individuals who are looking for decentralized computing resources, but also the existing data centers around the world. So the network is unique in the way that it is the first of its kind to use trusted hardware to ensure security at enterprise levels, and it is also implementing plasma side chains, so that off-chain computing can be used to enhance the throughput and power of the network. So absolutely massive stuff going on there. And ultimately, the goal of ANKR is to truly unlock the potential of distributed cloud computing by embedding computing power within the blockchain. So, ultimately, this is achieved through the proof of useful work, or POUW, and the consensus mechanism behind the ANKR network. So where those who are securing the network and promoting block propagation are able to unlock significant computing resources. So ANKR is one of the novel approaches to the distributed cloud computing blockchain space. And with the launch of its mainnet, and this happened, I think, back on the 10th of January 2019, the team over at ANKR basically felt they are well positioned to take on competition. And in terms of market capitalization, ANKR does lag significantly behind some of its competitors as well, unfortunately. But that also does mean there's plenty of swing to the upside. So fantastic prices on the ANKR token as it stands today. But it is approaching the market cap, of some of the other competitors currently as well. So it has been gaining some momentum recently. It's true that distributed cloud computing space is getting crowded, and there is. And the question really is there room, right, for unique methodology being applied by ANKR? And the answer to that is simply yes, and at least in our opinion, ANKR has something that some of the others do not. So the ever-growing size of available data and information calls for a secure data processing and storage platform, and ANKR looks to fill that role. Chris, do you want to go through some of the ANKR details?
Yeah, can do. So the ANKR network model offers a great promise as it uses a traditional blockchain architecture, but improves on the consensus mechanism and incentive system. I think they've got like a 3-layer approach, Nick, to be honest. The team took the approach to ensure the incentives for enterprise level networks were strong enough, and also that the unique set of actors would be able to attach to the platform by using various nodes in a block validation process, pretty much. And ANKR ensures the quality of the network is maintained and bad actors are removed, which is, I guess a similar thing with most blockchain projects these days, isn't it, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. By using those verification nodes, in the block validation process, ANKR really does, secure it on the mainnet, and it's very simple for them to remove those bad actors, which is fantastic. And in order to ensure that they have a system where only good actors are selected as verification nodes, ANKR also employs a reputation-based system which filters actors based on node contributions as well. So they do a lot of work around security from good and bad actors and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately a performance test is employed to fairly distribute among the actors with their differing computational resources. So they've really taken some time to actually consider how to best approach it, and it is quite good to see. And ANKR is unique in employing the Intel SGX as the main technology component, basically which allows for the execution of applications within the hardware itself. And this is the incredibly expensive technology that ANKR are using. And this technology is more secure against certain hardware and software attacks, since it processes certain executions inside the hardware itself. So it really does set itself apart from some of the competition in that regard as well. And when it comes to the off-chain data and processing, there is a native Oracle system, an NOS if you will, that basically transfers between the on-chain smart contracts and off-chain data. The NOS is secure and requires authentication to improve security. So really have taken a step back and really thought about how to do it, what tech is going to be best to support what their goals and ambitions, and what kind of protocols and things do they need to have within it. And they really have done a pretty good job, Chris, as far as I am concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so data source security is also handled in a flexible manner, since the platform supports all security levels from no encryption all the way to TLS 1.2 and 1.3, and perfect forward security, or PFS. And the team understands that by using the Intel SGX technology, they are entering a niche market where, by making their network dependent on a trusted hardware solution. Due to the expense of the hardware, it will be necessary for a limited number of users to be able to support a verification node. So it is a slightly more expensive hardware piece, and therefore there is a bit of a barrier to entry when it comes to actually running a verification node. But the ANKR team has chosen this path because ultimately they feel it will increase the network security and increase the level of commitment from node owners, which is ultimately what you kind of want. Doesn't necessarily help the decentralization aspect, but it definitely helps with increased security and keeping some of those bad actors out. So this will not only lower the chances of actors joining the network with malicious intent, but the team also feels it is necessary when considering the long-term evolution of the decentralized cloud computing ecosystem. So lots going on, and personally I feel that they have chosen the right path here. Yes, slightly more expensive than some others, but ultimately that technology will make the system, make the network a hell of a lot more secure than some of its competitors. So Chris, do you want to talk about the team a little bit?
Yeah, so like normal, Nick, the team, like in our eyes, is really important, isn't it? And it's one of the things that we really sort of put a magnifying glass over before we make any investments. And ANKR look to have a really strong team. Most have graduated from university in California. They've got a strong background in engineering and technical sort of fields, and some are limited to marketing experience as well. And marketing, we've mentioned this on other projects, is also really important. So it's great to have that sort of combination there. For me, I think it's one to really call out. There's also several partners and advisors to the project who provide commercial and enterprise expertise to the project, which I think is really important. The ANKR team have many strong members, beginning from the founder, who again has graduated from the California University. I think it's Berkeley, if I remember correctly, Nick. In electrical engineering and computer science, again, really important when it comes to these sorts of projects. Just a really strong team, Nick. There's a second founding member of the ANKR network. The name eludes me right now, Nick.
I think it was Stanley, Chris.
Was it Stanley? Yeah. He spent like 10 years working at Amazon as a technological, can't get my words out, put my teeth back in, lead prior to helping fund ANKR. Again, he was there in the early days for Amazon Web Services, joined in, I think, 2008. So he's got deep knowledge of computing as well. And I think these things, they're really important, aren't they, Nick?
They really do matter. And it's good that you actually mentioned the marketing, because ultimately it's the marketing that really helps get these particular projects out there. It's things like the marketing elements and the personalities behind some of these projects that really help drive them further forward. So it's good to see quite a well-knit and diverse team here with a wide range of skill sets, ranging, as you say, from those computer sciences through to marketing, etc. So yeah, I guess there's a whole list of guys. Obviously, you can see them on the screen. Well worth checking them out and just doing a bit of research on these guys, because they do seem to be worthy of paying attention to them and what they're trying to do. I think it's really, really good. And obviously we can't leave out, Chris, the community, right? So the ANKR community is also very vital in all of the various different things that happen here within the ANKR project. So one thing that the ANKR does not have is a vibrant community, which is a bit of a letdown, I guess. But nonetheless, they do have a community. ANKR, the ANKR subreddit is incredibly small. Yes, it's small, but nonetheless, it is still there. And I believe it has grown recently as well. So do pay attention to what's going on there. There's also said a private subreddit, which is only accessible by invitation. That is possibly the official Reddit, but nonetheless, it's worth checking out if you can get in. That would be fantastic. There are some, obviously, Telegram groups out there as well. So if you look at the other social media sites, they show similarly small communities. There are 1,000 followers on Twitter, and it might have actually increased in that. I haven't looked recently, Chris, but worth checking that out. There's the YouTube channel and Telegram. There's quite a few thousand members in the Telegram channels, as mentioned. So really good stuff from the community, and I think that's just going to grow. Yes, it's small currently, but I think it's going to continue growing as this project kind of gets more and more attention. And then obviously, Chris, the other thing that we have to talk about here is the ANKR token, right? The ANKR network's cryptocurrency itself, the ANKR token. So ANKR held basically an ICO, right, for their ANKR token. This happened back, I think, in 2018, somewhere in September. And during the depths of the crypto winter, right, if you will, if you really think about the 2017-18 bull cycle, and then obviously coming to the end of that, crashing down as it did, having an ICO back in September of 2018 is not necessarily the best time, but nonetheless, they did, and it didn't stop the project from raising $18.7 million over the course of 6 days, which was good. But most of that was raised in private portions of the sales, with the public basically only really raising $2.7 million in total. So tokens were sold at 0.006 of a cent to the public, or in the public sale, and the private sale, they were sold at basically half of that. So only 3.5 billion out of the 10 billion were offered for sale at that point. And I think at the moment we're about 6.4 billion circulating supply, something like that. So, if you're unable to kind of get any more data, it's worth trying to dig out that. But those are some kind of top line things of what happened to start with. And as of today, I think it's just over a cent. Is it, Chris?
Yeah, it's just over a cent now. I think we got in at just the right time, just before it pumped about 20%.
Absolutely. So the ERC20 and the BEP2 tokens are used to provide liquidity in trading on exchanges. So while the native ANKR token is required to access blockchain functions such as rewarding computing resource providers, payments for hosting and compute tasks, payments of the network fees, and incentivizing stakeholders, the tokens are exchanged with each other across bridges, and there will never be more than 10 billion ANKR tokens across all of the different types that there are. So 10 billion is basically 10% of the total supply that's going to be in XRP, for example. So significant drop in tokenization, I guess, and the sheer number of them that will be ever created. If we look at Cardano, for example, again, this is a lot lower than Cardano. And currently the market cap for ANKR is really, really small, just over 100 million. So if you think you could easily get a 10x just by moving it from 100 million to 1 billion, and if we start looking at some of those other projects at the top, you start to realize that actually it doesn't take a lot of money to really get this thing showing some significant gains and turning profits, right? Mm-hmm. So Chris, do you want to talk about buying and storing? Where do you buy ANKR, and where can you store ANKR?
Yeah, so personally, I bought my ANKR from crypto.com, which is a really simple way to purchase it. You can also purchase it on places like Binance, Bittrex, again, are others that I use personally. I won't go into any others, but those are the ones that I use normally myself. Where can you store ANKR? If you want to take it off an exchange, which we always recommend, don't we, Nick? And that's basically any ERC compatible wallet. So for example, I personally use Coinbase downloadable wallet myself, but you could probably put it on the Ledger and stuff like that as well. I think that probably covers that off. You know, if those exchanges that I mentioned in your area don't list ANKR, then I always suggest going on to a website like CoinGecko, for example. It normally lists by where you're located, which platforms sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this then, Chris, actually brings us over to the last part, right, which is all about our conclusion. And to just kind of bring a summary to this video and give you a bit of a top line view and our thoughts and opinions on ANKR. So ANKR basically wants to truly bring a decentralized cloud computing platform by integrating the power of computing directly into blockchain through a proof of a useful work consensus mechanism. And users are involved in the system security and block generation through traditional consensus mechanisms, can use a wealth of computing resources to do useful things for the system. And ANKR aims to provide a pragmatic business solution where node operators can use idle cloud resources from highly specified data centers to run multiple services, such as running blockchain node, while data center owners monetize their idle resources through ANKR cloud platform. So lots going on from those few aspects, and the team is obviously a very key thing, and the team are well worth checking out. We think they're fantastic. They've got a whole wide range of different skill sets, everything from, as you say, computing science through to marketing, for example. And they have the team is taking a very unique and interesting approach to cloud computing, using that Intel chip and the technology around that's has all of the applications running in the hardware itself. So really interesting stuff happening there, and it seems very promising, right? But very much a business to business, not so much a business to consumer. So it can be very, very lucrative as well. ANKR definitely has a shot at disrupting that cloud computing industry, at least in our opinion. But they do need to find their market, a way to market their product. And that's hopefully where the marketing will really kick in. They need to find a way of really getting it out there. For now, we can see definitely starting to get some momentum, but it has a long way still to go. They do several things, going for them. They do have several things going for them, including a youthful, talented team, as we speak about frequently when we do these kind of reviews. Several important partnerships, which we haven't really covered in here, but do your own research, as we always say, and check that out. And ultimately, I think they're just really something to be watching out for, aren't they, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, ultra disruptive in this particular space. I guess it's like Uber and what they did, in my opinion. So yeah, I really do like this project, and I think it's going to do well. But it is a wild card, right?
It is a bit of a wild card, absolutely, but we like wild cards, don't we, Chris?
We do.
So guys, if you have found this video useful, informative, then do go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really appreciates it. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you by chance are not yet subscribed to the channel, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all this said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.